Today, I want to talk about some major catalysts for the next Bitcoin bull run. That's right. There are major things happening right now. Of course, there's another catalyst, direct catalyst that's also coming. Right now, we know it's the calm before the storm. Bitcoin has been stagnant for a long time. It's in the eye of the storm where it's very calm. And then things are going to get real shaky, real volatile, right? In a good way. That's coming. And the other catalyst, of course, is Bitcoin ETFs. Spot Bitcoin ETFs, right? I've talked about this. ARCs not expired, but it was delayed. The next deadline is November. We'll see if the SEC comes to their senses. But all the other ones, from BlackRock and Van Eyck and Invesco, Fidelity, Valkyrie, their next deadline is actually in October. So there could be a chance that, let's say, BlackRock gets them approved in October, then everything else will get approved. And then, of course, ARCs will be approved. But if they get denied, then the next deadline will be November. But eventually, the SEC could only delay this for so long until January, which is, I believe, when a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved. Again, if you think about it, the timing of this, you're going to get a Fed rate cut, you're going to get a spot Bitcoin ETF, or multiple spot Bitcoin ETFs, and then you go get the halving event. Think about it. Think about the trifecta right there. It's going to be so big, enormous. But in the meantime, what can we do to prepare? I mean, just keep on doing what you guys are doing, which is, first of all, tuning in. Second of all, smashing the like and subscribing to the channel. And then third, keep accumulating. And that's what people have been doing. Number of addresses, even whales, that's holding above 1,000 Bitcoin. I mean, they're jumping in, right? People with over 1,000 Bitcoins are still accumulating. That's why addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoins is still skyrocketing. That's a lot of Bitcoins. Total supply held by long-term holders has now just surpassed 75%. 75%, more than 75% of Bitcoin is being held by long-term holders and continues to go up, right? This has never happened before. Go look at it. Even previous cycles has never, ever been this high. So the faith and conviction of people in Bitcoin has never been higher than now. Never, ever. Same thing. Number of addresses holding at least 0.1 Bitcoin has never, ever been this high. We're talking about all-time high, okay? So the fundamentals of Bitcoin, whatever we can to measure network activity, network users, network value, all-time high. So imagine that when the price actually starts catching up to the fundamentals, it's going to be glorious. For financial news, we got some economic data that's coming out this week. Actually, a lot of it is starting tomorrow. Retail sales, and then you got like FOMC meeting minutes from the last FOMC meeting, jobless claim, right? So again, people are still trying to decide, or Wall Street trying to decide, whether or not we're going to get any more rates. But what I'm concentrating on is when we actually start cutting. Is it going to happen soon? Well, according to Goldman, yes. Goldman expects no more rate hikes for the remainder of this week, and then we will cut second quarter of 2024. I think that's pretty realistic. That's my prediction too. I don't think we're going to get another one in September, to be honest. I just don't see it unless we get another reading, another inflation reading that shows we're like wildly skyrocketing again and reversing, right? Unless that happens, we're staying steady or we continue to go below. There's no reason why Powell needs to do another rate hike. It's adding a lot of stress to the banks, more than we probably know, okay? So I just don't, there's no reason for another one. And then we'll probably get cuts in 2024. Again, think about that. The second quarter of 2024, right? That's right before the next halving event. So that is actually a major catalyst. I already said this before, and I'll say it again. We have like a trifecta thing going on in 2024. Number one, from a macro perspective, we're going to get a cut. But whenever we get cuts, it's major. It's a major catalyst for money to flow into like equities and crypto and everything else, right? So that's also coming next year. And I'm just going to assume that we're not going to get any more this year, but who knows? Even when we get another 25 basis point in September, end of September, it's not going to be the biggest deal. I think right now it's kind of like priced in already. It happens, great. If it doesn't, it's almost like I get that feeling that no one really cares. What people really care about is when we're going to get the first cut, and that's coming up in 2024. So that's one major catalyst. Another one is you got to pay attention to what's going on around the world. Right now, a lot of people study the DXY, the strength of the dollar, right? Obviously, that does have, there's a correlation there, again, with DXY and equities. So whenever DXY goes down, equities goes up in terms of value, and same thing with crypto, right? And vice versa. They tend to go down when DXY goes up. But if you look at what makes up DXY, well, DXY is, it's basically a measurement of how strong the USD is versus other currencies. But right now, you look at other currencies, they're not doing so good, which is unfortunately driving DXY higher. DXY was dropping. It was below 100, and now it's above 100 because one of the biggest fiat currencies it's paired against is the yen, which is dropping or I should say, its value is dropping like a rock. So recently, Bank of Japan or Japan in general, they've been adjusting. They don't have like a Fed fund rate to adjust. They adjust basically on how much 10-year yield bonds they buy and what the interest rate is, and they're trying to relax that because they're going on an unsustainable rate. And ever since they've become a little bit looser on their rate, now their currency again is weakening big time, right? And so that's no good. And whenever, again, the DXY, the dollar's pegged against like 5 different currencies, the yen is makes up a huge portion of that. So this is definitely no good. No good. And it's not just the yen. I saw this too. Russia's ruble is also sinking like crazy. Okay, it's funny, man. At the beginning of war, ruble went down like a rock, and then it climbed up because Russia made some moves, and now it's starting to come back down again. Again, whatever you see currencies from other countries get weak, what happens? They tend to buy the USD, right? In this case, I don't know if Russia's actually buying USD or if they're even allowed to buy USD at this point, but this is what happens. Unfortunately, all these things are happening that's driving DXY higher. But my point is this, okay? It doesn't matter which fiat currency. Doesn't really matter which fiat currency you or I hold, right? I forgot. This is showing Argentinian pesos, okay, and how much you could buy with Bitcoin, and you can see how that's skyrocketing right now, right? Here's another fiat that's in trouble. Okay, it has been in trouble for quite some time, hyperinflation, right? But right now it's like an all-time high. So people in Argentina and people from places that suffering from hyperinflation, they're benefiting a lot by buying Bitcoin and holding it, right?